Well, Opposition Leader Peter Dutton is leading the call to boycott any pubs that say Australia Day celebrations should be banned. Let's have a look at what he had to say today.
If you've got a Christmas booking at a pub or an Australia Day booking at a pub with your friends or family that's not celebrating Australia Day, cancel and go to another pub that's celebrating Australia Day. And you'll see the companies change their behaviours pretty quickly. They're not closing down the pokies on Australia Day, are they? They're not saying that they're going to reduce the price of beer on Australia Day because it's philosophically what they want to do. They're still happy to make money, and I think they should be supporting our national cause, and our national cause is best advanced when we celebrate the great country we are.
All right, Labor MP Daniel Molino, is this sensible? If a pub's not going to celebrate our National Day, then should people go elsewhere?
Oh, well, thanks for having me on, Sharri. I was thinking about this as I've seen it evolve in the media over the last few days. I've been elected at all three levels of government. I was a councillor about 15 years ago in outer suburban Melbourne, and even back then, Australia Day was evolving. And I remember back then, Australia Day took on much more of a theme of celebrating volunteerism as a way of bringing the community together. And since that time, Australia Day has evolved further. And it is fair to say that it has become somewhat controversial in parts of our community. And I think we're in an interesting transition at the moment with Australia Day. When I was thinking about how pubs in my own electorate are dealing with this, it reminded me that Australia Day evokes very different feelings in different parts of my electorate. There are some parts of my electorate that want to continue celebrating Australia Day much as it has been for a long time, and pubs will do that in those parts of the electorate. There are other parts of my electorate where they're wanting to treat Australia Day very differently. And I think as a country, we are going through a process where different parts of our community are wanting to treat Australia Day differently. I don't know what the endpoint's going to be. What I'd say is there's no single rule here. And I think part of the problem with what that pub did, or that chain of pubs, is that they came in with a ham-fisted single rule and didn't understand their own consumer base. I think the rule here is that people don't want to be lectured when they're going to the pub or going out. But I do think there's going to be a range of different things people want across the community. And I'd just say that pubs or bars or whatever, restaurants, just need to know their consumer base.
Quite controversial comments there, Daniel. Keith, what do you think about what Daniel just had to say, that we're in a transition period on Australia Day, that not everyone wants to celebrate it? What do you think?
Wow. If the Labor government wants to transition Australia Day, let's go to the election tomorrow, Sharri, because I tell you, the overwhelming majority of Australians, they're not up for transitioning. They want Australia Day where it is. They're proud of our country, they're proud of our flag, they just want to be left alone to celebrate what is the greatest country in the world. And if it is the Labor proposition to make changes around Australia Day, well, they should take that to the election, and I look forward to it. I really, really do. We're not even up to Christmas, no matter Boxing Day or New Year, and here we are getting lectured already by companies about Australia Day. How about we just get on with it and celebrate our nation? That's what it's about.
Yeah, look, I agree. I think most Australians love Australia Day, that we should be proud of our country and have a day to celebrate it. And you know, this is generational now. We can all remember every Australia Day, almost I can, going to the beach or being at home, having friends over, barbecues, cricket on the television, the boys playing cricket outside. Daniel, I don't know, I'm surprised that you had to say that, but we'll see. That has probably kicked the debate along a bit now. Now, Daniel, you were this afternoon as part of a committee that's looking at the nuclear mix, whether it should be included in our energy mix, nuclear energy, whether it should be included as part of our energy mix. This inquiry, of course, was set up after Peter Dutton announced his nuclear proposal. Daniel, what are you hearing from the inquiry so far?
Well, look, some of the issues that I've been hearing are that nuclear in Australia is going to be problematic for a range of reasons, one of which is the time it's going to take, and the other is the risk of serious blowouts. When you think about the time, we're starting from a standing start. We don't have any social licence in Australia. We haven't had serious work done around site selection. We had an expert from expert on US nuclear plant selection, give us evidence today, who wasn't anti-nuclear, but she said that if the process of community engagement doesn't involve genuine engagement where communities can say no, then it's led often in the United States to disaster. And what we see with the coalition policy is that they've basically announced 7 sites, no negotiation, and there's going to be a ticker box consultation. The other issue is the construction blowouts we've seen in the United States with the Vogel plant, we've seen in the UK with the Hinkley plant. Construction times alone have blown out to 15 years in those 2 cases, and that's not including all of the planning and financing and regulatory side.
Okay,
so
I just want to make sure we have
way too long
enough
Australia.
time for Keith Pitt's response to all of this. Keith, this is clearly the line that Labor's going to run in the lead up to the next election. What's your response?
AUKUS has been underway for a number of years, Sharri. It's nuclear reactors in nuclear submarines at Australian bases. I don't think the Australian people will have the wool pulled over their eyes. Lots of other countries are using it right around the world. Time has come. We should be implemented here in Australia because it is zero emissions, it is reliable, it uses very little land. We've got the people of the technology. We should just get on with it. And it's a long way to 2050, mate. 25 years is a long time.
All right, let's turn to Tasmania. Hundreds of workers in the salmon industry are nervously waiting on Tanya Plibersek to make a decision that will affect their livelihoods. Daniel Molino, this is a very controversial issue now, and don't workers deserve to know what's happening to their jobs? Why hasn't a decision been made here?
Well, look, I think with complex issues like this, decisions often take a long time, and this is something that we've seen across governments of both political stripes for a long time. I mean, this was part of the reason for the Samuel Review, which was undertaken under the previous government, and which found that a number of reforms were needed based upon a lot of systemic delays that were occurring under the previous government. Look, the Minister is making decisions based on all of her obligations under the laws. She has to step through these things carefully. I totally agree with you that workers rightly want these decisions made in a timely way, but these are complex issues.
And she might make a decision only for Anthony Albanese to overrule it, as we've seen with the EPA laws. All right, Daniel Molino, Keith Pitt, thank you very much for your time.